this whole tsunami that we're on, like we are surfing this wave, and the wave's only getting bigger and bigger, and it's quite amazing. And everybody listening to this podcast is part of it.
Yeah.
And it's radically changing. We're watching things that have been planted for a long time change culture.
When Sitala Devi was speaking today, I was noticing two. She was speaking on two levels. One was like the theological level, speaking about how
Mm,
special how special the lineage and the gift of Sri Chaitanya is. But another was on a historic level,
yeah,
how it's unfolding historically, how Bhakti is unfolding historically in, I suppose you could say, in the history of Indian spirituality.
sure.
But
And
at
it's hard to see right in front of your face, but if you were to zoom out a bit, you're like,
yes,
oh, this is why this happened.
yes, and then in the modern historic big moment was when Prabhupada took it to the West, when Prabhupada took Bhakti to
Sure.
the West. It reminds me of, and I may have shared this on the show before, but the G.R. Swami, the head of the Sri Sampradaya, really in one sense, the like say modern historically, the oldest Vaishnava lineage,
Mm,
right? Of course, we say all these lineages go back to Krishna, but the Ramanuja Acharya is the first prominent Acharya in these
mm,
lineages, and so he's the head of the seat of the Sri Sampradaya, and he was asked not long ago, and that means he's as orthodox as you can get.
right.
He's incredibly shastric in his understanding, and the depth, incredibly deep in his understanding of Shastra, and an understanding of Vaishnavism in general. And he was asked, "Is there anyone in our time, modern time, that will be known centuries from now
Mm,
as a great acharya like Ramanuja is known, like Madhva is
mm,
known?" And he said, "As far as I can see, there's one person that will be seen that way, and that's Swami Prabhupada, Srila
mm,
Prabhupada." That I thought that was very significant, right? He saw
sure.
it's a different lineage, but he saw, no, what he did is historically incredibly important. That he took bhakti that was predicted to reach every town and village, and actually did it in an incredibly short amount of time. He was uniquely empowered to do it. So this is a really interesting thing, and as you say, it's not easy to see when you're
In it?
when you're in it.
When you're in it.
You need to be able to zoom out and understand that we are living in an incredibly fascinating and wonderful moment in
A
history.
shift.
Yes.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Live from Śrīdhāma Māyāpur, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a Bhakti Yoga podcast with your host Raghunath and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. It is, what's the date today? January 27, 2026. It's episode 1725. Good morning, beautiful people.
That means we're getting very close, I think. Is it 1720? Which is it 1728 where we've done like 16 rounds of the show?
How many rounds? How many malas?
How many?
1728 makes 16 rounds. Is that it?
108 rounds. That's right, not 16.
Okay.
108 rounds.
108 rounds.
So we have 3 more shows to do. That'll be like doing
And that's a special day for us?
well, that would be doing 108 rounds of the show.
100 rounds of the show?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
In other words,
I understand what you mean, but like, why is that significant? Why not 1,800?
well, 108 is usually like a number that,
I know, but
we can give it a
times
lot of
16
significance.
times. All
No,
right,
no.
whatever. So you want that to be the holy day of the show?
I'm
can do that.
really flexible on this. It doesn't have to be.
Anyway, we have missed the even in Bengal, we're hearing about the storms that are hitting the United States.
Oh.
It's like this. It's almost like the whole world's collapsing. But is it collapsing now, or is
It's
it
not
been
collapsing.
collapsing for centuries?
It's not
Has it
collapsing.
always just been collapsing? Like we're always in a state of emergency, Or maybe we just know too much. Maybe people just lived in a village and they only knew what was happening in their village. Maybe it's like an information overload. Like the whole world's always been collapsing in one sense, hasn't it? There's always been wars.
It's a world of constant change.
It's a world of shifting sands.
Yes. Like sands in the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. We're gonna.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here with a Zoom group. We're here with a live group. We have our pilgrimage crew today, our level 2 pilgrimage out in Mayapur. And today, we got here last evening, and it's just been wonderful ever since.
Mhm.
I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. We started off with like the Italian devotees made us an incredible meal.
Maybe we should hold on that and do our announcements first. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, why don't we check
Pranapriya.
Pranapriya?
Pranapriya, how are you doing, Pranapriya?
Great. Happy to be back in Mayapur.
I know. Isn't it great?
It is indeed. Tomorrow's show we're going to do at 6 a.m. Eastern time. And then on Thursday, we'll be back at this time, which is 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. So
Okay.
jumping around just a little bit. And that's all my announcements.
I think we could mention this. There's a lot of new stuff out on the Sage Community platform. Probably about, must be what, 12, 24 classes or something like that I did while we were in
Kaustubha Das, senior educator at the Bhakti Center and content creator.
Yeah, creating some content. And we're creating more content here. We can start to put that up. We got some nice stuff from Raghunath today at the holy places that we've been visiting.
Yeah.
All right. So where do we start? Maybe we just talk a bit about Navadvīpa here and where we're at and all that. What do you think?
Sure. I think it's good just to talk about this place and
Hard
everyone
not to.
listening.
Yeah.
They get that taste of Mayapur. They say that even in Sitala Devi was saying that this morning, even the remembrance of these holy places are
Mhm.
wish fulfilling.
Right.
They're very powerful places. She described them as like a vortex to the spiritual world. Right. And Navadvīpa and Vrindavan are one and the same, like 2 rooms in the same house. It was a nice analogy.
Yes.
But the difference is, Pranapriya, you remember?
Audārya and Madhurya. Or
Right.
Audārya.
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 Audārya. How dare you? How dare you? So Madhurya is the sweetness of Vrindavan. And it's got that. It leans heavy into the sweetness. But Mayapur is the Audārya, which is the magnanimity and compassionate and the mercy side. And let's face it, it's Kali-yuga. We're a bunch of mercy cases.
Mhm.
Like we're train wrecks. We're a hot mess express. And not qualified, not ascetics, not learned. We'll have to speaking multiple languages or Sanskrit. We can't even speak English very well, and that's our native tongue.
We're a little crazy.
We're a little crazy. We've had crazy parentage, crazy parents oftentimes.
Grew up doing drugs from a young age, a lot of us.
Drugs, sneaking into bars, all types of stuff. And somehow here, we get to climb to the top of the mountain. We get this very, very high thing.
It comes down. Not so much that we climb up, right? It more like
That's a nice way to put it. Yeah, it comes down.
Yeah.
There's like a long rope thrown down a well by Lord Chaitanya.
There's something that we've been talking about these things, and maybe we can talk about some of the places we visited, some of the people that we heard from today. But what's got something going on? Okay, we're good.
You're good.
Just to take a step back, or maybe just a little bit of a squirrel, but it's all totally related. You know what I've been noticing over the course of a bit of time here, Raghunath?
Tell me.
Men devotees when they cry. I've been seeing that sometimes.
You seen men cry?
I think I'm seeing devotees become more and more advanced, and their hearts are becoming softer.
Do you cry?
No, I'm not. I'm not that advanced.
I cry a lot, but
I'm
it's
not
not because
talking
I'm
about-
advanced.
I'm not talking
I'm
about.
just an emotional wreck.
You see, there's people can cry over like the material circumstances, and I'm suffering so much. That's one type of crying. I'm not putting your crying in any category, but
Hey, Prabhu,
yes,
you did cry once. Do you know when that was?
I've cried several times in my life.
No, but I know there was one time that I
You're
remember you
thinking
crying.
about when my guru passed away.
No, I was thinking when Ayendra died.
When
You
I
cried.
died, did I?
Kaustubha died,
Yeah.
cried.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Great souls. Huh?
Yeah.
That was different devotees passed away, but I knew as soon as I heard he passed away, I was like, wow, that was
That was
That was-
weighty.
That was very
weighed a lot.
weighty. Yeah, that was very weighty. But I've been seeing men devotees cry, and I see what makes them cry.
Mm.
And at least in the cases that I've been taking note of.
Okay.
And it's when you realize the gift that you've been given, even though you feel like you don't deserve it, that you feel like this total humility, and it's almost like I didn't this feeling of I didn't appreciate what had been given to me. I had it all along and I didn't appreciate it, and now I understand it. That is brings people to tears.
Mm.
And that has so much to do with where we are in Navadvīpa and who Śrī Caitanya is.
Mm.
Because this idea that there is this vast body of knowledge of let's just take all spirituality and set a lot of it aside and just get to this like the Vedic world, right? Of all the Vedic scriptures and the many different paths that are spoken about there, and the many different types of followers and different philosophies and different lineages and different practices. And what's happening is it's not that anyone wants to come and say, our path is right and your path is wrong. But what great philosophers and saints like the Goswamis of Vrindavan found, and honestly, it's not just in our lineage. It's there in Vallabhacharya's lineage. It's there in the Vrindavan lineages like Hidhari Vanks and Swami Haridas, that they all realize that this love of God is the highest evolution for the self, but even there's gradations. And there's this gradations of of loving God with awe and reverence. It's a very beautiful and exalted state of consciousness. Even that's extremely rare.
Mm.
But that the love that the residents of Vrindavan have, the intimate love, is this very pinnacle, of spiritual awareness, and it takes on this whole beautiful aesthetic of love being reciprocated between the self and God showing his humility and his vulnerability to love. It becomes this most beautiful theology, and that Krishna says, I want to know what it's like to love God with that kind of intimacy because I see how special that is. That position's even better than my position.
Mm.
That he comes and he practices and becomes a student of Radharani's in a sense, because I want to learn how Radharani feels. And when he learns that, he has all those feelings that she has, that prema. But prema turned towards Krishna is we love of God, the soft heart, let's put it this way, turn towards Radha and Krishna, we call that prema. When you turn that to the rest of the world, it manifests as compassion. And that Śrī Caitanya feeling the most drowning in an ocean of bliss of Radharani's love for Krishna says, I need to give this to the whole world. I don't care. Yeah, but the whole world's not qualified. I don't care that they're not qualified. I'll give it away. I'll put the whole store on sale. If you still don't want to buy it, I'm going to beg you just to take it. That idea, we've been hearing about this for decades, but to try to understand that. And then you see, like, I was given something that I didn't deserve. I didn't even fully appreciate it. Now I'm beginning to understand. And then people cry when they feel that. That's what I'm seeing in devotees that I feel are advanced. They break up a little bit when they start to talk about the mercy of Śrī Caitanya, the mercy of the Goswamis.
We had the good fortune of hearing Sitala Mataji's class.
She revealed a lot. She was like unpeeling it there a lot in her talk.
Yeah, and there were I didn't cry, but there was times where I thought I was going to cry.
Oh,
Do I get any points for almost crying? I was almost crying there. I really tried to force a tear out. No, but it was so touching. She said, all the predictions of Mahaprabhu coming and giving it to, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying people, Russians and English-bodied people, and will come together and chant the holy name. And she said there was one year.
Historic moment
where all these white Hare Krishnas with tilak and dhoti stories were having this big Nagar Sankirtan up the road, and then all these Bengalis down the road, and they all met in the middle, and they all broke into tears.
Because they realized it's happening. The prediction
It's happening right in front of our eyes. And this whole tsunami that we're on, like we are surfing this wave, and the wave's only getting bigger and bigger. And it's quite amazing. And everybody listening to this podcast is part of it.
Yeah.
And it's radically changing. We're watching things that have been planted for a long time change culture.
When Sitala Devi was speaking today, I was noticing she was speaking on two levels. One was like the theological level, speaking about how special how special the lineage and the gift of Śrī Caitanya is. But another was on a historic level.
Yeah.
How it's unfolding historically, how Bhakti is unfolding historically in, I suppose you could say, in the history of Indian spirituality.
Sure.
But
it's hard to see right in front of your face, but if you were to zoom out a bit, you're like,
yes.
Oh, this is why this happened.
Yes. And then in the modern historic big moment was when Prabhupada took it to the West, when Prabhupada took Bhakti to the West. It reminds me of, and I may have shared this on the show before, but the G.R. Swami, the head of the Śrī Sampradaya, really in one sense, the like say modern historically, the oldest Vaishnava lineage, right? Of course, we say all these lineages go back to Krishna, but the Ramanuja Acharya is the first prominent Acharya in these lineages, and so he's the head of the seat of the Śrī Sampradaya, and he was asked not long ago. And that means he's as orthodox as you can get. Right. He's, incredibly shastric in his understanding, and the depth, incredibly deep in his understanding of Shastra and an understanding of Vaishnavism in general. And he was asked, is there anyone in our time, modern time, that will be known centuries from now as a great Acharya, like Ramanuja is known, like Madhva is known? And he said, as far as I can see, there's one person that will be seen that way, and that's Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. That I thought that was very significant, right? He saw it's a different lineage, but he saw, no, what he did is historically incredibly important, that he took Bhakti that was predicted to reach every town and village, and actually did it in an incredibly short amount of time. He was uniquely empowered to do it. So this is a really interesting thing, and as you say, it's not easy to see when you're in it. When you're in it, you need to be able to zoom out and understand that we are living in an incredibly fascinating and wonderful moment in history.
A shift.
Yes,
it's like when Christ came around. He wasn't known for years. He's a small little cult of, if you're into Christianity in the year 6, it was like, come on, you weirdo.
He was getting hunted.
I think you're like joining a cult. Get back to your Jewish roots. But it took I think the Emperor Constantine or one of the emperors to say, you know what, we're going to go with Christianity as the new religion of Rome.
And it gets normalized.
And then it just gets normalized, gets spread out throughout the Roman Empire, and next thing you know, everybody's Christians. And all it takes is one influencer, one emperor, and this is Prabhupada's genius. Let's go to America. Everybody's following America. And it's true. It's like we export a bunch of crap to the whole world. We export our dumb movies. We export our dumb fashion. We export our dumb music. We export everything.
Yeah.
Let's export. And so he said, let's get these guys into Bhakti.
Maybe they'll export that.
And we've exported, now Bhakti is going around throughout the world. Prabhupada brought in Bhakti. And as influence, we came back to India. India is so radically Krishna conscious right now. It's unbelievable. When you talk to older Prabhupada disciples about reestablishing Bhakti in India was so difficult because everybody in India was like, we want to be an American. We want to send our kids to college in America. We have, we're trying to become, rise above poverty. Now, India is like an economic superhero, and there is Krishna temples like everywhere. You can't even go to Radha. The temples in Vrindavan are so packed.
It's very interesting to think about what historically is happening in India right now.
Yeah.
If I try, just off the top of my head, just thinking about it right now, I would say several things are converging. One is that really qualified devotees started to go into the universities and teach Bhakti in those universities. I mean, I'm sure it's been done for a long time, but definitely the ISKCON Chowpatty Temple spearheaded something special going into IIT and
You know,
going into medical
did,
school.
hold it.
Yeah,
You know that I taught a class at IIT,
look at
the
that.
most prestigious engineering university perhaps in the world. I did. Ramaswamy
well
ordered me,
received?
said, "Go to IIT and teach tonight."
Very nice. How was it
It
received?
wasn't an engineering class. It was just a Bhakti class.
Okay, and who
Well,
was the audience?
The audience was all engineers,
Okay.
but I thought I was going to have to really preach to them, but they were all like exponentially more Krishna conscious than I was. And they're all just like, I thought I was going to have to convince them, debate with them.
You
Everybody
felt
was like,
you were kind of like a subject in their experiment, and they were looking at you, examining. Oh, he seems to be catching on to something.
No, it was very Krishna conscious. We had a big kirtan, and I gave a class on the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, so there's that, and I think all over India now in the universities you have people that are like there's generations that got lost that were raised in Brahmin families that had go back centuries of really having an understanding of their dharma and of Vaishnavism, and then the kids that are going to college are losing touch with it, not seeing it, maybe never being taught its real meaning. So they're just seeing it on a superficial level. Yeah, my grandmother rings the bell and does this puja
Well, look
every
at
day.
Chaitanya here. Chaitanya, come here a second. Move over. Chaitanya, quick, get over here. So here's Chaitanya Mishra. I found out that Chaitanya is her actually birth name.
Oh,
She's one of the famous Bombay girls.
and
She's been
Mishra on top of it.
And she's a Mishra. That was Lord Chaitanya's that's Lord Chaitanya's last name. So, okay, but you said you grew up in a family that didn't even practice.
Yeah, they did not. I mean, they used to believe in Krishna, Shiva, and all demigods there were in the market.
Anyone in the market they believed in. So how did you get a taste for Krishna?
Actually, I met another Bombay girl my friend Priya Gopika, and she used to live in the same building on 7th floor. And I used to always see her very blissful, happy, and that illuminating energy from her. And I'm like, what is that she's found that I haven't? And I really need to go deep. And we were just hi-bye friends for 4 years, and until like I really helped her gone my way out, and she was like, okay, now I can be a friend. And I got mercy. And actually, every night I would sleep and I would pray that is there a world where everybody's happy, where there's no war. And like how Raghunath Maharaj said, during Kirtan, he says one voice, one heart, and one soul, and then sing that name. And I actually wish for that world. And when I met her, I was like, oh, there is a world that exists, Golok Vrindavan. And what are we doing here?
Beautiful. So you put the Mishras back on track.
Hopefully, like my sister got into Krishna consciousness. My grandmother, my family is they are good humans, but and they actually appreciate what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, as long as we're not like going out there and exposing ourselves or having drugs or anything, like they're good. I mean, as long as we are doing the right.
Like, were your grandparents into Krishna or pujas or?
Yeah, my grandfather, he does like Ramayan, Shiv Puja every morning. He writes Ram Ram in a book every day.
Nice.
But writes Ram in a book, like fills a notebook with Ram's name.
But the question, how did you perceive that growing up, his writing that name?
Yeah, so as Indians, I mean, and like you guys rightly said, whatever the Westerners do or whatever is out there, we want to follow that. And because there was so much, and like we also discussed, if there's so many options given to kids, they get confused. And I was confused. I was like, which God is the real God, and why there are so many gods, and I don't know what to follow. And my grandmother would like take me to all the gods and like for whole Mumbai darshan, and I would be like, hey God, if you're God, then just make everybody happy, give them peace. And this would be my prayer, like for everybody like in the world. And finally, I mean, until like I found Krishna, I was like, yeah, no wonder I was always attracted to the baby form of Krishna. Like it was always a big picture in of baby Krishna. And beside that, there was like Shiv meditating on Krishna, it seems. So it just added up when I figured it out. But when we also now, like being 12 years in the journey, I feel like, oh, when I found that, okay, this is Krishna conscious, this is the world that exists, I was like, okay, this is it, this is what I was waiting for. No, 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 that's not how it is. I mean, you just like stepped into, that's a baby step, and there's so much of things,
And now
so
she's
many
getting to
so many
yeah.
fires that you have to like course correct yourself, internal wars, and I don't know, it's like a journey. Like I feel
But
like
okay, but
I'm
you're
just
on the path
beginning
now.
now.
Yeah, then now you're doing the work.
Yeah, I'm doing the work, inner work.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Caitanya Mishra. Boom.
okay, so here's I was saying that that's one element that people coming from really traditional families, the younger people coming up and not understanding the tradition, never being taught the meaning of the tradition, and maybe the parents and grandparents being incapable of really doing that. That we're at a certain point, why we're doing this gets somewhat lost, and then the young people, particularly in the world that we're living in today, they can't appreciate it.
You know, it was a gift.
Mm.
A gift was we weren't born into it, you and I. And therefore we had to like
Searching for
we had to search for it, and then we had to sort of like, wait a second, for me to join your club, you better convince me. We had to be really, really convinced.
Yes.
Before we put on a robe, walked out into New York City street and distributed Bhagavad Gita, you better be pretty damn convinced
Yes.
that this is the path that you wanted. So we really had to like sharpen our intelligence about it. Whereas I feel like there is a benefit of being born into bhakti, but then sometimes when you're born into things, you take things for granted. We always had issues.
Or in any case, in any spiritual path, if you're born into it, you hit a certain point where you have to own it for yourself, where you have to examine.
This is mine.
Yeah, I'm
There's
not
something
just
here
into
for
this
me.
because I was born into it, but I'm into it because
I'm into it.
yeah, on my own. And so in any case, I think a lot of people in India, when they hit that point, they didn't have the answers to why they should be into it, and they would lose their enthusiasm for it. But when you have someone like a Gauranga Prabhu or a Gaur Gopal Prabhu, these devotees that were going into those universities in Mumbai, and you'd be like, this guy's an IIT graduate, and he's into ringing those bells and doing that puja,
Yeah.
and he's telling me right now why it makes sense, and he's doing it in my language. I think
And
that
they're graduates. They could be living in Silicon Valley right now.
Well, that's my point, or in some powerful position in India. So you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these now influential people in places of influence in India that got turned back onto why their family was into bhakti in the first place, and so that's one reason why I think it's spreading in India. That's one. Okay, another one I think is because ISKCON distributed so much prasadam over India. It's millions of plates of prasadam per day for decades.
Yeah.
And I think, one, on a material level and on a spiritual level, that was working. On a material level, it draws a lot of appreciation. Oh, they're actually good. A lot of skepticism goes down, a lot of appreciation goes up.
Sure.
But
Feed people like that.
yes, but on a spiritual level, that's tons and tons and tons of prasadam going on. That's changing people's life. You eat prasadam every day. It begins to change your head. So mass prasadam distribution is a very effective way to like change a nation, let's say, right? So there's that. Then another thing is when COVID hit, it did something in India, because everyone was locked away, and maybe there was a lot going on over the internet or something, like where people were examining more deeply their lives, internal work, but also seeking out more knowledge through the internet, through podcasts and things like that. But as soon as COVID opened up, the temples in India exploded.
Tourism exploded all over India, they say.
Yeah, and the temple, and we've seen it. It's like the temple, statistics and visitors
all over India, not just Vrindavan.
All over India. So that's also going on. And then in the midst of that, now you have a kirtan thing going on where people are really getting into kirtan.
Kirtan clubbing. You heard about that, Chaitanya?
Bhajan clubbing.
It's big. It's going crazy, she says.
She knows.
Kirtan clubbing.
So like all these things are coming together. But when she was speaking today, she was kind of like marking Bhaktivinoda Thakur's contribution, which goes back, to the 19th century. and then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and then Prabhupada, especially. Like these are the major modern, most recent, historic
Milestones,
kind of milestones.
influencers, yeah.
But as you were saying that, I'm thinking there's a milestone that's happening right now, and that's the Temple of the Vedic Planetarium. That's the milestone that we're living in right now. And when that opens, I think that'll be another milestone in the shift that people from all over India and then also from all over the world are going to come there, and they're going to see right before their eyes, physically, a manifestation of the cosmology. But it's not just the
What's it
cosmology.
gonna look like? I don't
It's
even
the
know. I
theology.
need someone to explain it to me.
Well, I think
Is it going to be like hard? Is it going to be like things projected in the air?
no. Well, that could happen. There's going to be the big dome. What you're talking about. There's a planetarium, but that's on one of the side domes. There's 3 domes.
Okay.
So one dome is the dome over Lord Nrsingadev.
Okay.
One dome is a planetarium, and
Okay.
it can also, you can do all kinds of other just like we saw in that full dome.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have a mini one here right now. We can go and see like a presentation of Krishna consciousness projected onto a dome, and it's really far. You get these nice laid back seats, and you
Yeah.
can see this whole modern presentation of Bhakti, which you do that right. That's a huge thing when you got thousands and thousands of people visiting every day.
Right.
It's people visit temples in the thousands. I mean, not just thousands, but tens of thousands every day in different places in India. But imagine if they're getting a full-on modern, incredibly brilliant presentation like this. This is Prabhupada's influence. It's not just religion, but it's like knowledge that can change the world. And this place is going to be uniquely qualified to do that. But in the big dome, where the temple, where the deities are, coming from the very top is like a mobile, right? You understand?
Yeah, mobile. Mobile.
Is it called mobile or
It's called the mobile.
mobile?
Mobile.
Whatever they call it, it'll be coming down
What's on it?
all the different levels of the material universe, and then the different levels of this, the kind of that gradation that we read about in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where you can
Fire, earth, air.
no, like in other words, the earthly planetary system, Jumbo Dweep, Brahmaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, you go up through all the different layers. Then you go beyond that into the Brahmajyoti. Then you go through the different Vaikuntha planets, and you climb and climb and climb until you get to the pinnacle, which is Goloka Vrindavan.
Very interesting.
It's one thing to
Very
say it, but if you
interesting.
try to say it to people, most of it just escapes your mind. But if you look at it,
Video.
and what it's illustrating is that, again, just like there's a conversation with Ramananda Roy where he kind of like lays out what is the pinnacle of human aspiration. Well, it's of existence in a sense. It's the love of Radha is like at the very top. And so like this thing will visually show how at the very top of not just universal, but like beyond the universe, like, in all existence, the very pinnacle of consciousness, the very pinnacle of experience, the very theologically, metaphysically, is the love of the residents of Vrindavan, the love of the gopis is like at the very top. And in the temple, you're looking at these huge, beautiful deities of the Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya, who is Radha and Krishna combined, giving out the prem that he's feeling the need to give it to the whole world. And then you have the incredibly beautiful Radha Madhava and the Astasakis, the 8 gopis, all in that temple. So you're getting this whole vision, and you can go up the different levels, because there's, I don't know how many levels there are, like 7 levels or something like that. And on each one, there's kind of displays explaining all these different levels.
Are they going to have the hellish planets at the bottom?
I would imagine they
Wouldn't
probably
that be
will.
great?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't
Get me
want
up.
to go to the mountain.
Where's that elevator?
It's a slipper. You can't get out once you go in.
And then not only that, but then on the other wing, you have this Nrsingadev temple, which even if it was just on its own, it would be like incredibly huge and powerful
All
Nrsingadev
right, I'm
temple.
excited for this. We're doing another tour tomorrow.
We're going to go see it tomorrow.
Yeah, we do the tour every year, but every year it gets developed more.
But imagine that's not just an ordinary deity of Lord Nrsingadev. That's like an incredible.
It's the Ugra Nrsinga.
It's Ugra
Nrsinga.
Nrsinga. And anybody that knows a deity knows he's powerful, and he's the one that removes obstacles. Like imagine. So you have this Prabhupada's vision of like this incredible educational spiritual experience, and then Lord Nrsingadev just like crushing any obstacle that comes in its way of that spreading, you could see how we're in a moment in history where the next, the next page, turns,
Mm.
and how that can, what this world looks like 20 years from now.
Yeah, I was saying that
50
10
years
years
about
from
it.
now, 20
Yeah.
years from now.
What would the effect that this will have will be very fascinating. It won't be in our lifetime. I mean,
Sure.
10 or 15 years or something like that.
So that was this morning's class. What's
Yeah.
our time like, Prana? Okay. So that was this morning's class with Sitala, who,
Yeah.
and it took us very high and very, it touched our hearts. Then we took off to, where did we go from there?
We went to Jagannath. Well, we had
Oh, we went to
breakfast on the
Jagannath.
roof here, which
Yeah.
is lovely.
And then we went to Jagannath Temple, which was
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh man, love that place.
First of all, the whole setting was beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Nice
I mean,
kirtan, nice guitar.
yeah, the idea of there's always magic happening. Just like you told the story today about this Krishna miracle. These
Oh yeah.
devotees found these deities recently, and they
Had a
were sort of like the
dream,
predicted
woke up.
deities that were going to come, and he had a dream about these deities, and the deity spoke to him. Very not that far off from the Jagdish Ganguly story,
Yeah.
who he was an old blind man who always went to go to see Lord Jagannath every year because the devotees from Navadvīpa would take pilgrimage and they'd go to Rath Yatra. There's a strong connection, especially with the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, to go to Puri. And so one year he got so old that he couldn't do it. He just got he lost his eyesight.
You got to give listeners a little context. You got to frame it.
There is a man. He's an older man.
When?
500 years ago, in the time of Lord Chaitanya.
Okay.
And he was a great Jagannath Bhakta. And when everyone would go to see Lord Jagannath in Puri during the Rath Yatra festival, he'd be excited. He'd go too. But then as he got older, he went blind. And he was super frustrated. And people, all of his...
He wanted to go to Puri, but
he wanted to go to
You
Puri.
can't walk there when you're blind, and you
Yeah,
can't see Lord Jagannath.
And all of
to
his
get there.
friends and family were saying, I think you should just stay. And he was like devastated. And so Lord Jagannath came in a dream to him. And he said, go to take your morning bath in the Ganga. And as you take your bath, a log is going to hit you in the head.
Okay.
And when that log hits you, your vision's going to be restored.
Okay.
You're going to take that log.
You must have been like in the water.
Swimming around his head. No, or maybe it just came right at him.
Boom.
Who knows?
Okay.
There's a lot of these log stories in the Vedas.
I can think of a couple.
I can think of a couple. But anyway, grab this log. And in the dream, it said, you got to take this log and you got to find this leper carver. And in the leper carver, you're going to have him carve a deity of me, Lord Jagannath. He's going to refuse, and you got to convince him. And when he does do it, the leprosy will go away.
His leprosy will go away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did. He got his eyesight back. He was blown away. Lifted this log with the help of people. Looked for this leper in the village.
He could see now. So that
And the leper was, sickly. And he said, you got to carve this. I came in a dream. The dream said I was going to get my vision back. My vision's back. Now you got to help me carve this into Lord Jagannath, like my dream said. And of course he said, no, I'm not going to do that. My hands are disgusting. They're covered in pus and blood. You think I'm going to touch the sacred body of Lord Jagannath with these hands like these? And then he said, you got it. The dream told me you have to. Lord Jagannath in the dream told me.
It's been working. I got my eyesight back.
And try it. It might work. And
Okay.
sure enough, he carved him. The leprosy went away. And from then on, he worshiped this deity. But as he died, the deities got left behind. So the worship didn't continue. And they got left in disrepair. And sometimes, just like anything else, you'll still see this in India today. There's some temples that are in so much disrepair that people throw garbage in them, like they're outside. People just use them as trash bins where once they were worshipped. So these got covered over by jungle, by anthills, and hundreds of years later, maybe 200 years later or 300 years later, there was a giant anthill. And I think earth and leaves, they compost, and the deities are buried.
And?
Well, you're looking at me like you don't know anything about compost. Is that what you're looking at me?
No, it's just the last thing on my mind.
I know about compost.
Compost. No.
Am I looking to be offended here today?
You are. I wasn't thinking about compost. I wasn't thinking about that.
Well, they were composted.
I was just thinking
a lot of the
I was
leaves were
just picturing a
composted.
huge anthill in my mind. That's what was
Yeah.
going on in my
Well,
mind.
it's not an American thing. These are like in India, you see anthills are like 3 feet tall.
Okay.
You don't see those in America, do you?
I haven't.
No, you don't. It's an Indian ant thing. But we got a little anthill like this, but they grow anthills like that. So anyway, they were quite. So this guy was going by and he saw this strange, out of character blue flower growing out of this by this anthill covered over in other jungly compost, and he was like, I said, "Oh, it's a pretty flower." And then he heard a voice say, "I'm thirsty. Get me water."
From inside the anthill.
From inside the anthill. He's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm thirsty. Get me water." You heard me.
There's a big ant in there.
It's a big thirsty ant. So he went over there and started digging around, and sure enough,
Lord
he
Jagannath.
started to uncover these lost Jagannath deities. And when they uncovered them, they cleaned them off and they bathed them and they installed them again and started doing worship for these deities.
You would love for that to happen in your life.
I would love
Hear that voice.
to hear anything, a dream to lead me on a treasure map. I dream of stuff like this, finding a treasure.
You
a
dream of
deity.
dreaming stuff like that.
Yeah. So anyway, sure enough, this deity was worshipped until, just recently when the old pujari said, I'm not going to be able to take care of this deity. I'm going to gift this whole Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra to the ISKCON temple. They can take care of it.
Right.
And so ISKCON sort of assumed that property, incredibly breathtaking property with big mature mango trees.
Yeah.
There's
Mango
a beautiful
grove.
goshaal right behind it.
We were hugging those trees today.
We hugged it. And you know what? Right? Vaishnavananda?
Let's get Vaishnav.
Get over here, Vaishnavananda. Vaishnavananda is from the Canary Islands. She's Italian, disciple of Matsya Avatar Prabhu. Howdy, Bo. How are you? How's your time going? You got to talk right in that mic.
Yeah, my time is going great. Thanks to you both and wonderful group. And being in Mayapur here, it's really, I don't have a words, because you have this kind of experience which they should belong to another dimension, and you try to express them with the words. But the mind is just, it's like, we call it cortocircuito. It's like, I don't know, mind doesn't work in that way. Yeah, exactly. So it's like this dimension, it can't be really expressed by rational word or in a normal way. So it's more sharing, even finding each other, hugging a tree. It's like without saying anything, it's just sharing this experience without find any words. I'm just saying no words.
Vaishnavananda, you were sort of having a little out-of-body experience with that tree today, I've noticed. It was,
Yeah.
and I had my head on the root, like touching the root of the tree. I was like, I'm going to one-up you and touch the feet of the tree. But then you're like, boy, that tree's got power. And then I hugged the tree, and the tree had power. I'm not just making that up. It felt like it was exuding some energy.
It was. Maybe because I live in a place where there are almost no tree, because my island, it's Fuerteventura, and it's kind of
Desert island.
For me, a tree like that, it's really kind of
Big, giant mango tree.
Yeah.
But it was also just, I live with a lot of trees, and that is a special tree. And it is the Dham. So everything is Chintamani. Everything is a wish-fulfilling tree. The dust is magical. The trees are magical. These living entities growing here. In the same way, no one here is ordinary. Everybody here, to come to the Dham in their lifetime, it will somehow pivot your life in some direction or other. And so in the same sense, these trees that are being born here, humans that are being born here, animals that are being born here, it's not ordinary.
Not at all. This is why sometimes I would like to express with ordinary words,
Yeah,
but no.
it can't. How did you get into bhakti? What was your deal?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I've always been a kind of a believer. I grew in Christian schools, Christians private schools, and then I was in my grunge period. I was 18, 19 with that music, but I was still cultivating spirituality.
Okay.
And then when I moved into Canary Island, I got into Bhakti because I met devotees there.
You met devotees in Canary Islands.
Yes.
Are there devotees there?
kind of now, not so many, but sometimes they come. But in Tenerife, they have a big temple. There is a ISKCON temple.
Really? Okay.
Tenerife South, yes,
All right. Good to know.
yes, they have very good prasadam.
Good. Where did you grow up in Italy?
Parma.
In
And
Parma.
Parma.
Okay.
Yeah. I studied in Bologna. I've lived 15 years in Bologna.
Oh wow.
And,
Nice.
yeah.
All right. Thanks for sharing your tree hugging love.
I saw her being quite moved hugging that tree.
Yeah.
Afterward, I also felt it was not an ordinary. It wasn't like it was dead. It wasn't like it was a rock or something like that. There's some vibration coming from that tree that was really something.
Haters are like, yeah, right.
No, I felt it.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. I'm 60 years old. I don't care what you think anymore. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Once I cross that line, I'm like,
So then we had an incredible feast after that.
well, we had Lord Jagannath Mahaprasad, and it was one of these feasts. Like I was meeting some old friends, and so I really wanted to catch up with them. I haven't really talked and hung out with them in a while.
Mhm.
But what I should have done, I should have done that. But if I had, in my perfect world, I would have met them at a different time, and I would have eaten this prasad like a scientist.
Yes.
Like, do you know when you go to a Okay, people, we are back. Anyway, there were foods that we've never eaten before. Some foods I have eaten before, but like I just don't get them that often. And it was just like, and sweets that were like out of this world. And it was all Lord Jagannath's prasad every day.
I was thinking the same thing, less from like ingredients and all that, but just thinking this is a meal that shouldn't be rushed. And
Okay.
you're right. It could be eaten in
You know what?
silence.
That's
even.
better. I should have thought like that.
Well,
I should have like
I think
tasted
you
the
were.
love.
Well, that's exactly.
I was more like
Yeah.
more like this is a cultural experience here. I should have got to
It
appreciate
was
this.
that too, but it was a
You were having more
devotional.
of a bhakti
It was a devotion.
experience.
Every one of those dishes was made with devotion, and each one was a unique, colorful, flavorful offering that had this whole meditation invested in it. And when you have a meal that had, how many vegetable dishes were there today? Like maybe like eight, nine, 10, something like that. And then there was the rice on top of that. There was dal on top of that. There was 3 incredible sweets.
Three- all different types of pakoras. Like,
Lots of different pakoras. Incredible chutney. Oh my God, the tomato chutney. Yeah. So each one of those things was made by someone that really cared, and they were served. That Lord Jagannath is, but to be the cook for that deity, is something special. They have the opportunity to cook for that deity. So all of those, you could just sit and. That's how Prabhupada would eat here. He'd just sit quietly, sit
quietly just taste.
Yeah,
real tasting, you got to go slow.
Yeah.
I told you about my chocolate.
No.
Yeah, she's.
What happened?
I don't know. She's nodding like she knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, I had a student that was a chocolate taster.
Oh.
And she was telling me how to eat chocolate properly. I can't remember, but it was something like you got to bite it and you got to put it under your tongue, then switch it to another part of your mouth. And it's like, and I was like, there's a job for the chocolate taste. She goes, yeah, I get flown all around the world to taste chocolate.
No kidding.
But anyway, it's like, you got to eat it like that. And when you eat it like that, you can actually taste everything. You can taste the herbs and the seeds, the vegetables, and the oil it was cooked in or fried in or baked in.
I had an experience just recently because my wife's been away taking care of her mother now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
The last time I saw her was here in India, like last year at this time.
Right.
I saw her again this year at this time.
Yeah, it was good to see her.
But it's been over 2 years since I've had anything cooked by her, and I'm
Did
used.
she cook for you?
Well, I'll get to that. So You're jumping. You're pushing it to the punchline. Let me develop it, please. so, so, I'm used to having her cook for me every day, and I haven't had her cook for me in years, literally years now.
Yeah.
And she cooks with real devotional consciousness. It's like her food is really satisfying, not just materially, but there's more to it than that. And so
You didn't invite me over for a little something.
she huh? Well, the point is that she used to make for me, I wouldn't have to eat like regular junk food. She would make for me healthy sweets.
Okay.
And she would make the ones that I liked. She actually would learn how to cook this. Like, I like licorice. I always liked licorice when I was a kid. But all licorice is grains that are cooked by non-devotees. So I didn't eat licorice for decades.
Oh,
She found out how to make
good.
licorice.
It's
And
really, you're missing it.
well, I'm not anymore
No,
because
you're not.
she found out how to make licorice.
I've had that licorice.
She
She
made
makes.
it at
It's very
home.
good. It's like
Yeah.
homemade licorice.
Yeah, so she would make it at home, and she brought me that, which I hadn't had for years.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was maybe more than ever in my life, I really perceive what it is when love is cooked in food.
Get her to make some cherry licorice
Okay.
instead of the black stuff.
I can try. Would you want Twizzler?
Twizzler. Yeah, get her to put a little twist in it.
Grind some Twizzler
twist in
put it
there.
inside. So anyway, when food is cooked with love, it's a different experience.
For sure.
And all of that food was cooked with
I
love.
think every American gets that because we grew up on fast food. And then maybe your mom cooked for you a little, and then you realize there's a difference between fast food and
Or
the way mom
you
used to
had a
cook.
mom that cooked for you, and then you go off to college and you're eating
And you're
ramen and this and that, and then you
Yeah.
go back home and to have that meal that's cooked with love.
Although I do love ramen.
So anyway,
Although I will say those Italians, man,
excuse me,
those Italians yesterday, they made us
That was a very good
spaghetti
meal.
from scratch.
fresh pasta.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, we had that incredible meal. We were also saying there was a man there that served out the whole meal, right?
Yeah.
Some
sweet
of us
guy.
were assisting him, but he was kind of like the head of the whole thing. And, like you're serving out a meal like that, at a certain point, the servants sit down to eat. Well, he was the servant of the servant of the servants. Like, he was the last man standing.
Last man standing.
Yeah. And then when he was done, he said he took whatever was left. He very happily ate it.
And he was on cleanup.
This was the thing I noticed when he was on cleanup is that because myself and Katie were servants, we were kind of the last two people left eating.
And Tara.
But Tara was sitting at a table, so we were on the ground,
Okay.
and he was cleaning the ground.
So no credit to Tara.
So he was squeegeeing the floor. The moments after it had been eaten, he's cleaning the place up already. And then he came, and I was talking to Katie, and then I looked up and I saw him waiting there, and I saw, rather than saying, "Hey, could you guys move now? I'm cleaning this area, and I got to be out of here in 5 minutes or whatever."
Right.
He just sat there and patiently waited.
Just waited with that squeegee.
With the squeegee, just waiting.
All right. Some people will be like, come on, can we get this going? I mean, eat it up. I served out. Now give me a chance to clean
It would
up
have
and
been.
get
It
out
would
of
have been
here.
entirely reasonable for me
Right.
to do that. It would
Or
have been.
please, like, chop chop.
Yeah,
like
anything
something-
like that. Yeah, but his mood as a Vaishnava was to satisfy others. He had a peaceful mind and a peaceful heart. He had some inner quality, some inner happiness, where he was okay. So his mind wasn't going, "Come on, guys, come on," He was he had that peace that a devotee has, and he just waited patiently.
Mm.
And then I finally noticed it, and I was like, "Oh!" And then he, as soon as we got up, he cleaned the area. So that was interesting. Just watching him serve in the cooking, in the serving, in the eating. It's not just an ordinary stuff your face experience.
Mm.
It's there's meaning, and there's grace in all of it.
The materialist is trying to get fed through the actual food, and
Yeah.
the spiritual is trying to get fed by the love
Yes.
and by the mood of service.
And they don't want to eat something that's dead, that doesn't have that love in it.
Yeah.
It's got no. It's like eating.
It's very interesting, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Interesting. How are we doing on time, Prof? So we never got to well, let's just say briefly. after everyone ate and everyone was like bellies full and like completely happy and satisfied lying around that beautiful garden, then we got up and we walked to the place of the great Saint Kolovech's Sridhar, which was like a walk through the real
That was really
Indian
beautiful.
countryside, but that's like manifesting Śrī Caitanya's mercy, like vibrating on some super high level.
We went to Kolavecha Sridhar's spot.
Yes. Yeah.
Incredible. And tonight we're about to go to Kirtan with myself, Javi, Vishwambar.
That'll be quite a party.
Super excited.
Yeah.
And have dinner there.
That's what it's like to live here in paradise, to live in Navadvīpa and Māyāpur. Always some beautiful things going on.
Audārya Dham.
Audārya Dham.
Anyway, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Prana, you have any takeaways? No, that's it. No takeaways today.
No Bhagavatam, no
No
takeaway.
Bhagavatam, no takeaways. That's your policy. That's a t-shirt. No
Dog
Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us.